Everybody, this is Leah Marie. I'm back with another video. So I'm just doing back-to-back videos at this point. If you have the time, check out my previous video that I made about my big shop journey. I'll link it in the description box below. But in today's video, it's gonna be a quick little video because I'm trying to catch up on videos. I'm gonna be talking about trusting God's timing and my personal testimony on how I had to learn how to trust in God and His timing. So, I already shared a brief story about my faith journey. If you haven't seen that, I will also link it in the description box below. But there have been many countless moments in my life where I had to learn how to trust on God's timing and learn how to literally wait on the Lord. It has not been easy waiting on God. I've been in situations where, because I felt like God was taking too long, I decided to go ahead of Him and go against His will. And that kind of backfired for me plenty of times. And I'm just speaking generalization, whether it was something for school, something regarding work, regarding my personal life. Went against His timing, it did not work out. It did not work out at all. I'm gonna probably edit that part out where this thing was over my face. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, trusting in God. God operates in His own time and own way. There's a scripture in Isaiah where it says that His ways are not our ways, and His thoughts are not our thoughts. God is an eternal being, so obviously He moves according to His timetable, not our timetable. And unfortunately, given that us humans, because we live in a fast-paced microwave society, really since the beginning of time, and because of sin, we've always wanted to do things our own way. We've always wanted to operate outside of God's will because we're humans, we want to do what we want to do, and because of pride. But I'm here to encourage you and let you know that God works His own time and own way. We can't rush Him because ultimately, regardless of how fast God moves, His will is gonna, prevail. So I'm here to encourage you all today, including myself, to not be impatient. Whatever God has for you is for you. It's just gonna come in His own time. And also we have to be sure we're operating in God's will, because God is not a genie, obviously. He doesn't give us what we want. He gives us what we need. And there'll be times when God doesn't give us what we need, but there's a blessing in that, because it will make us realize that, hey, whatever we wanted wasn't part of His will for our lives anyway. So we have to start praying to God also, while I'm in this waiting season, let me know, Lord, if whatever I desire is part of your will. Social media is plays a big factor also as well. And when it comes to our faith, we see a lot of people in different stages of their lives. They got new promotions, new careers, new jobs, new families and relationships. Some are married, some had success in business, arts, science, whatever, what may have you. And those of us who are on a different timetable may feel like we're missing out because of how perfectly curated the post that they made or the level up that they have. It will make us feel jealous and resentful, and it'll make us, start complaining to God and say, hey, God, what about me? And what we have to realize is that God has a different purpose for everybody, regardless of what it is. Sometimes the blessings will be material. Most times it will not. Most of the blessings that God give us will actually be spiritual, because blessings that God gives us will make us realize and recognize that, we have to depend on Him. And we have to love Him more than the blessing that He gives us. So that's why there'll be times where God will put us in waiting seasons and periods to kind of prepare us and give us the discipline on how to handle that blessing. Because if God gave us the blessing on our own timetable, we wouldn't have the maturity or discipline to handle the blessing or to steward the blessing. But the whole purpose of the waiting period is for us to be dependent on God and not be so dependent on the blessing that He gives us, because the ultimate purpose is that we're supposed to be in relationship with God. We're supposed to love God above all else. We're not supposed to prioritize material things or anything else that will hinder us from growing our relationship with God. At the end of the day, God is all that matters. And that's why He has these waiting periods to prune us, to discipline us, so we can get into the next season. But the whole purpose is to depend on God and to lean on Him and trust in Him. And not the sad reality, but the harsh reality that a lot of Christians have to face, a lot of believers, especially new believers like me, have to realize is that God is not going to give us everything that we want. The reality is that we're not always going to be blessed materialistically. And that's not the whole point. The whole point is to be with Christ. The whole point is to, how should I say it? The whole point is to love God above anything else, regardless of whether you have the blessing or not. God is always going to be good no matter what. But if He does decide to bless, because God can do whatever He wants to do. He is God. He's the supreme being of the universe. Ain't no way around that. If He does decide to bless us, you, myself, we must not idolize the blessing over Him. Do not get so caught up in the blessing that you forget about the one that gave you the blessing. So hopefully this encourages you today. Hopefully this reminds you and myself to wait on His timing, because His timing is always perfect. But remember, He will not always give us what we want, because that's God. So hopefully this encourages you today. Please remember to like, rate, and subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next video. Be blessed.